What's going on, great peoples? Let's get on right into this thing here. I'm sure most of you guys have never probably heard of Roy Bright. He was a shooting. He's a well, they got him as shooting guard, but I remember him being like a small forward when he was at when we played together at Mount Zion Christian Academy. I swear on everything, man. I was just looking through some pictures, and I ended up finding this picture from 2003 with me and Roy went to school together. We went to Mount Zion Christian Academy in Durham, North Carolina. If you know anything about Mount Zion, back in 2003, we were probably like the top 5 schools in the country. We had just absolute talent. Everybody that came to Mount Zion, we were expecting to go to the NBA. I'm just going to keep it 100% honest with you. Um, this guy right here just went to the school. He was not part of the team, but we were part of the team. So anybody who we saw that came to the school, we knew you were highly ranked. We knew you had you were dominant wherever you came from. We had players that came from all over the state that came to play at Mount Zion. I came from Atlanta, Georgia, to go to Mount Zion and play ball. So when I got to Mount Zion, um, one of the people that I met was Roy Bright. And you know, when you get to a place like Mount Zion and you got all these different players, you always we always ask each other questions about, you know, where we played at, what we ranked, and all that old good stuff. Who trying to sign us, what college we trying to go to, and all that kind of stuff. That was that time in our careers where we were thinking about college and Division 1, and we were getting letters basically from every school in the country. If you went to Mount Zion in 2003, you was getting recruited by every school in the country. And I remember when I met Roy, just the word on him was he was going to the NBA. He was 6'6". He could jump right on out the gym. He was very solid, very fundamentally sound, a great basketball player. I'm just going to keep it 100. He was a very good small forward. Some of y'all think y'all can play small forward, but you had to see Roy play small forward. Very tough. And then the other thing about it was super cool. Like he got these little mean looks on his face on these pictures, but Roy was the coolest guy, one of the coolest guys on the team. I'm gonna be totally honest about that. So it just it baffles my mind that he's in this homicide situation where they charging him for murder. Um, so when I tell you that I tell you exactly what happened. I was looking through my photos. I stumbled across this photo from 2003, and it hit me. I said, "Dang, I wonder what Roy Bright is up to." And so I looked up. Um, I looked him up. I just did a quick Google because I said I know he at least played at a Division 1 college somewhere, and then I wonder what happened from there. And found out he went to Cincinnati. He ended up being released from Cincinnati, and he ended up going to Delaware State. And as you can see, he put his name in the NBA draft. But I think at that state, at that stage, once you leave Cincinnati and you end up going to Delaware State, that means you're having some issues, and they trying, you know, it's just not going good. You don't go from Cincinnati to Delaware. So just from that alone, I figured, okay, he was dealing with some stuff. Um, and so fast forwarding, man, to see that he's going through this situation as far as this murder charge, that completely caught me off guard. And I figured I would speak on Roy because again, man, he was a real good dude when I met him. Very good basketball player. Um, Now I see him with the dreads and stuff, so it's like it blows my mind in a way. Um, and it segues to a point that I want to make, especially for some young people who may come across this video. Um, it's one thing to have potential, guys. It's one thing to be a great ball player or be great at football or anything that you're great at, you know. But what I find that happens a lot of times is the higher you go up, the harder you fall. Anybody that went to Mount Zion, I'm just going to put it like this, and did not make it to the NBA had a major fall at some point in their life. Because their dreams did not come true. That picture you see with me and Roy right there, we both believed we were going to the NBA for sure. No questions asked. We had all the merit, all the accolades, the skill sets. It was all, right there for us to take. But you need to understand, guys, that when you get to this stage, that means you played against guys in AAU. You've played against the best of the best. You don't just get to this stage and you don't know what's going on. In 2003, you had LeBron James, who was also a senior, who dominated the media, dominated in every area as far as being recruited. So a lot of people, you didn't hear about him because you heard about LeBron James at that time. And there was a major shift in AAU, in college basketball. For example, you couldn't come straight out of high school no more. See, Mount Zion, we had Amari Stoudemire. We had Tracy McGrady, who both went straight to the NBA from Mount Zion. No college. When you went to Mount Zion, you was expected to go. You was the real deal. Kind of Mount Zion was a place, if you were having trouble at your home school or with grades and stuff like that, they'll send you to Mount Zion so that they can go ahead and get yourself together so you can make it to the next level. And so that's what kind of school it was. It was only maybe, I know I graduated as a senior with only 15 people, and only 3 of us were basketball players. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is that what you don't see on the pictures, what you don't see and you don't understand is that this dude had to have taken a serious fall from grace. It happens to every great basketball player, football player, whatever sports you tried to play, or even entertainment. You wanted to sing, it's a huge, and I'm talking about you got the goods. You're the real deal. It's a very, very, very hard fall to go from being an NBA prospect to not making it. And I believe that's where life starts to spiral out of control. You start to lose your grounding because all you've known was I'm sure all Roy knew was basketball. All I knew was basketball. So when they tell you that that's no longer going to be accessible to you, we're no longer pushing you, we're no longer trying to get you to the next level, and we basically cut you off. You're no longer a factor. That's a very hard pill to swallow when you've been a superstar since you've been playing rec basketball, since you've been playing middle school basketball. You've been the star. Everybody told you was going to make it. Get to high school, you got all the girls. You got all of everybody want to be like you. You a superstar in your city. Everybody know you for playing basketball. So once you train, you put a lot of eggs in that basketball basket. Because you don't get good unless you train. So you dedicated a lot of time. So it's hard when you tell a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, 22-year-old, hey, you can't play basketball no more. We ain't got no team for you. That's a hard fall. And the biggest part of that fall is when it has nothing to do with your skill sets. A lot of y'all don't understand that part. Most of us that came up in 2003, 2002, 2004, we didn't understand that there was a big shift that was taking place. And LeBron James was a big part of it. But we're not going to get into that today. I wanted to focus on my brother Roy Bright. I'm going to pray for him. I hope he gets through whatever the situation is he has to get through. I remember the young kid that was just dreaming on trying to get to the next level. Funny. He was funny to death. I just remember him always making me laugh in class and stuff like that. Real cool guy. And so when I looked him up and I found that he was in this situation, it kind of made me reflect, because I went through my own trials and tribulations. Once I took my fall from grace, and I just sympathize, because I know what it is. I know if you've never been to that level, if you've never been to the top, you don't know what it feels like to fall. So it's easy to criticize. It's easy to say, oh, you just jealous, you just mad because you didn't do this and that. That's very good that some of y'all do that. Oh, well, it's not very good, but we understand why you guys do that, because you just have no idea. It's heartbreaking when you don't get to that next level, especially when it's out of your control. No amount of training, none of that was going to make it happen. But again, I won't get into the specifics about these type of things, but we'll leave it at that, y'all. I just thought I'd share that story with y'all. And again, if you know somebody that play basketball, if they a senior in high school, they get into college, you need to tell them how serious this time is in their life. Because many people don't talk about the fall. You need to tell them to be serious when you playing ball or you playing sport and you really want to take it to the next level. You got to be focused, you got to be serious, but you also bet to know the system. Because when they blackball you, that's it. It don't matter what you do. If they decide they don't want to market you and build you up, they're not going to do it. And what I find interesting is that to finish this off, there's so many basketball players in the world, in the United States. Great ball players. So you have to stand out. And to be honest with you, they can pick whoever they want to build up and market. It's no longer about merit. With all the nepotism that's going on, this started way back when. Nepotism didn't just start. Nepotism are dream killers. That's why the NBA is the way it is today, and nobody wants to watch it. Because you got great players that I've watched over the years when I was coming up, that I know for a fact should have made it to the NBA, or at least to a high Division I college. Yet there were gatekeepers. There were things that were going on behind the scenes that if you never make it to this level, you would have never known about it. So for those of us who made it to a high level, on a high school level, we seen things go on that if you never made it to that level, you wouldn't know. It's just like in the music industry. If you never got into the music industry, you just really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You can only guess. But there have been people that have been in there that have told you, listen, this is what's going on behind the scenes. These people ain't who you think they are. And so I think because of the time that Roy was going to college and things, now I will say this, he made it to Cincinnati. But what I find is that a lot of these college coaches are nothing but gatekeepers. They will sit you on the end of the bench. And all the people will say is, oh, he must have did this, or he must not have been practicing. He must not be as good as we thought he was. No, the coach is in full control. The coach is getting paid millions of dollars, while the players weren't getting paid anything. So who do you think makes the decisions? Who you think? Why you think? And then they say you can't go straight to the NBA. So you had to go to college first at this time. Before 2003, 2000, you can go straight to the NBA. But they implemented a rule that you could no longer go straight to the NBA. I wonder why that was. It was to slow you, people like myself, people like Roy, people who had the gift, the talent. They can go. People like LeBron James, people like Amari Stoudemire. Those of us who could have went straight to the league and bypassed these college coaches, these college gatekeepers. That was the primary reason for that. It was control. To build up the NCAA. Because a lot of players were saying, bump the NCAA. We need to go straight to the league. And they tried to use Kwame Brown as the reason why players shouldn't be able to come straight out of high school. If you don't think a player is good enough to come out of high school, just don't draft them. Why come up with I wasn't even going to get into this, y'all, but I wasn't even going to go this way, but y'all they got me talking about my boy Roy. Y'all got me talking about some things I can, But yeah. They implemented that rule to keep us from bypassing their gatekeepers. You gotta play 1 year at college. Why? I'm a grown man when I leave high school. I can go get a job. I don't gotta go to college. If I'm good enough to play for a professional team, then that's just what it is. I'm a grown adult according to the United States in the law. I'm an adult. But that rule went over many of you guys' heads. You don't see how the power was snatched from the player. Here you at home with your mom and your dad, and you can go straight to the NBA. You are powerful. You can go straight to making millions of dollars. You are powerful. Then they put in a rule and tell you, well, no, you can't go straight to the NBA regardless of your skill sets. You have to go to 1 year of school. Who would make that rule up? Somebody who understood the power that young men would have if they can make their own decision. Do I want to go to college or do I want to go straight to the pros? We're not even going to talk about these nasty, filthy coaches. These perverted coaches that you've been hearing about. And the things that go on behind the scenes. And why the NBA looks the way it looks right now. And why there was these big campaigns to allow certain individuals in the league. So it was no longer about winning basketball games and being the best player on the floor. It became something totally different. So I'm just grateful because I was hurt when I took that fall. But let me make sure you guys understand one thing. God makes no mistakes. And God is not going to allow you to go into anything that will corrupt you, that's not meant for you. He's not going to let you do it. So I had to accept the fact that God said, no, I'm taking you on a whole nother path, and I'm going to show you along the way the path I'm taking you on. It's no coincidence that I was going through my pictures and I saw that picture of Roy Bright, and I decided to Google and see how he was doing, because I just knew he was playing ball somewhere, or he went, I just knew he did something big with his career. And to see that he's in that situation, it let me know God knows what he's doing. He will show you things to confirm to you, I know what I'm doing in your life. Anyways, y'all, let me not get too much into that because I might say too much. But I appreciate y'all listening. I thought this was worth, breaking down what I thought about this. And hey man, y'all stay blessed, keep God first, and know that if God tells you no, if something that you wanted to do in life and it's not shaking for you, sometimes that maybe you just need to step back. Take a step or two back. One of the number one things that I do now that I didn't do when I played basketball, I was a very aggressive basketball player back then. But now I let the game come to me. When I play with the young guys now and I'm out there, I'm learning. I'm still learning it too now. To let the game come to me. Stop trying to force it so much. Just let it flow. That's the thing that I can snatch from this game and apply it to my real life. So now I'm watching God just let things flow in my life. Things that, I didn't even know I wanted. Things that I didn't even realize was available to me, accessible to me. Sometimes when we play ball in sports, we limit ourselves to that sport. But God said, now I want to open your mind up to all the gifts that I've given you. So I appreciate y'all for listening. Until next time.